Hello, welcome to the Hawthorn Cottage Podcast. Today is Saturday the 13th of May and this is episode 8. I'm Kate. You can find me on Instagram as Kate_Hawthorncottagecraft, on Ravelry as ARunnerBean. There's a Ravelry group for the podcast, which is Hawthorn Cottagecraft, all one word, podcast group, and there you'll find show notes for every episode. And I have a Etsy shop called Hawthorn Cottagecraft, and there you'll find my project bags. Welcome to the cottage. If you're here for the first time, you're very welcome, and I hope that you find us a friendly bunch. And if you haven't subscribed, please feel free to subscribe, and you'll get all notifications of when the podcast's updated. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I hope you have your cuppa. I hope you have some knitting, and we'll sit back and have some chat and see what we've been up to. The first week after I spoke to you last, I didn't actually get that much knitting done. It was the week before Atlantic Knitscape in County Mayo that I was about to attend, and I was preparing bags for that, so the actual knitting that got done that week was minimal. And I had great intentions of getting lots and lots and lots of knitting done at Atlantic Knitscape, but when you get to know me, I'm a bit of a chatterbox and I probably chatted more than I actually knit. But I did get some done. And one of the things that I decided, I was debating what to bring, I think, the last time I spoke to you. And I was considering bringing a cast on because I'm still itching to cast something on. But I thought it would be good. And I would bring projects that maybe hadn't had as much work as I would like to have had done. And I thought I would bring those and get a wee bit of catching up done. So one of the things I did bring was inevitably a sock. And I brought my Grand Central sock that is a design by Mina Phillip, who is Knitting Expat Designs. And it's from her New York sock collection. And the sock that I have been working on, as I say, was the Grand Central. So the last time I showed you this, and I think it's maybe a few weeks now since I've shown it to you, I had got to here, to this wee bit, and I was ready to put in the heel. And since I've spoken to you, I have got some done. I've got my Fish Lips Kiss heel put in because it was nice and quick. I'm still unsure of this heel. It is very quick. When it's on, I'm still unsure of it, simply because I feel that this bit where you turned is a bit, I mean, it's neat, but when it's on my foot, I think I'm not sure whether it's strong enough. I have a high instep and quite a broad foot, and sometimes I think that maybe this isn't going to hold up. It might. I haven't been wearing socks with the Fish Lips Kiss heel in long enough to know how well it'll wear, but I'm just not quite sure. Anyway, I put in the Fish Lips Kiss heel because it was quick and I thought it would work well, and I have worked down the foot. The pattern is beautiful. It is from her New York sock collection, and it's the very first one. Now, like a lot of sock patterns, I'll take the pattern from the designer, but I put in my own cuff and heel and toe, which is why the Fish Lips Kiss heel is in here. It's not in the original pattern. I also did 1x1 twisted rib, and I think I've about 18 rows in there. I got fed up doing the rib, but I did that and I put in my own heel. And the one other modification I made from the pattern is that in most, if not all, I think Mina's patterns, she only does the pattern on the front of the sock. I did it all the way around on the leg, and then obviously on the foot. I don't do the pattern on the back, but I do it all the way around on the leg, and that is the only modification I have made from her pattern. It's a beautiful design. You get a look there. It's just textured, and it works very well with this variegated and quite busy yarn. You don't lose, and it just gives that wee bit of texture to it. The yarn that I'm using is my Fine Fish yarns. This is her label. and it's the SB Eider colourway. And I just love all those pops of colour. I love the grey. And every time I knit this, a different colour appeals to me. Now I like the green in it. You can see the green. But it's the peachy burnt oranges that in the last couple of days have really appealed. It's just a beautiful yarn. I'm knitting it on my 2.5mm. They're the Knit Picks wooden needles. Caspian, I think, is the range. I initially cast them on these because I cast these on for the plane a few months ago, but they wouldn't be my favourite. I don't mind wooden needles, but maybe just this isn't the right project for them. I feel there's too much drag, but they're doing the job and I'll continue on with them. The great advantage of having quite small feet is that I'm almost ready to put in my toe. I think another pattern repeat and then I can start doing my toe decreases. So hopefully by the next time you see this sock, it'll be a half finished object. I can almost guarantee there'll not be a full pair of socks by the next time, but at least if I get this one finished and maybe its partner on the needles, I'll feel as though I'm making progress. It's a lovely sock. I'm looking forward to wearing this. Because I enjoy the yarn colour in this so much, I'm not in any great rush to get it finished, but I would like to get this one done so that at least I feel as though on the second sock. So that was one of the things that I worked on when I was away. The other thing was the test knit that I had started. Now, I'm a very poor test knitter at the minute, and that this test knit is not done and the pattern is going to be released tomorrow. So I am test knitting the Mountain Air shawl for Quilter Caroline. She designs under the label Clothesline Designs, and you really should go and look at all her patterns. Her shawl patterns are beautiful, but this new pattern is lovely and I have been enjoying knitting it. It's just taken me a little while with everything else, and I'm well on. I'm almost through to the last section. I'll try and show it to you. I think I can show it. She'll not mind if I show it to you a wee bit more now, because there is a picture on Instagram of the finished shawl. So this is what I'm working on, and it's beautiful. Garter and lace. So I'm looking forward to getting to the last section, and as I said, if you look under Quilter Caroline's page on Instagram, you will see what the finished pattern will look like. I am knitting this using my Haya Sharps, and it's the 4mm, which is a US 6, and it's great for the lace. And I'm using Ellie and Ada, and the colourway, this colour is Morel, lovely mushroomy colour, and the paler colour is Ghost Orchid, and it's a 50-50 superwash merino silk mix, and it is beautiful to work with, and it is going to make an absolutely scrumptious shawl. This shawl will be beautiful to wear. I think it'll be really dressy once it's finished. So as I said, the pattern release is tomorrow, so keep a wee eye out for that, and it is very well worth it. There are 2 patterns in the collection. This is Mountain Air. Her whole aesthetic is beautiful. It's pretty, and I'm looking forward to having that finished. Another project that I worked on last weekend has been the main project really for the last few months. If you're new to the podcast, on the 17th of March we started a knit along for the Gingerbread sweater, which is by Libby Johnson, who is Truly Myrtle Designs. We started on the 17th of March. It runs until the 31st of May. And it's been lovely to see in the Ravelry Group all the sweaters taking shape. Some of them aren't very long started. Some people are really well on. They've maybe are on the last stages, and we have a few finished objects in there, and they are beautiful. The one requirement of, the one and only rule of the CAL was that you be a member of the group, And at the end of May, when the thread is closed, I will be drawing for prizes, and in the prizes there is a bag by Hawthorn Cottage Craft. There are patterns that have been donated by Libby Johnson herself, and a pattern donated by myself up to the value of $10 US. So if you're working on your gingerbread sweater, please don't forget to put in your projects to the thread. As I said, it's been lovely seeing how everybody's getting on. It's a lovely pattern, and just as a reminder, this is what it looks like. But the exciting thing is that I can show you what it looks like. I have finished my gingerbread sweater. It's all done. All the ends are woven in and it has been blocked, and I love it. I was going to say I can't wait until the autumn until I can wear it, but actually with our weather at the moment I could wear it. It might be spring coming into summer, but it doesn't feel it. This is the coziest sweater. I will insert photographs here where you will get a close-up view or a better view of the sweater. But it is finished, and as I said, I do love it. The attraction of this sweater in the first place was this, and I think that has just come up beautifully, and it is blocked out beautifully. It is so distinctive, and the few people that have seen the finished sweater, it's the first thing that draws their eye is this beautiful detail along the hem. I knit my gingerbread in Blacker Tamar, they're double knitting, and it was the Tala Water colourway. And I love this yarn, you know I love this yarn, I've talked about it before. It's 100% British wool, it's Teeswater, Wensleydale and Leicester long wool mix, and there's a beautiful halo off it. You can see the halo. There are some people may find this itchy wool, but I don't. I find this incredibly soft. I will probably wear even a vest top underneath it will be quite satisfactory. It's very cozy and comfy. And I'll be using Blacker Tamar for many projects I think in my future. I really just love the way it is knit up, and I love the feel of it and the look of it. I just think it looks beautiful when it's knit. I stuck to pattern. I'd got gauge. We've discussed this before. I knit the smallest size because I didn't want just quite so much positive ease that the pattern was calling for. I think it was calling for something like 6 inches, maybe, possibly. Positive ease. I didn't want that. I like my clothes quite fitted because I am quite small in height and quite small in stature, and I find that if I wear baggy clothes I look dumpy. So I wanted this sweater is not a fitted sweater, and I wanted it to be comfortable and cozy as it should be, but I wanted slight fitting. So for me, knitting the smaller size kept it like that. I've less positive ease than I would have had if I'd done the second size, and I really like that. And I used the needles that were recommended, which was the 3.75, which is a US 5, and a 4mm, which is a US 6. I used that for the body, and it came up beautifully. It came exactly to the gauge that I wanted. Now, the last time we discussed the sleeves and the problem I had with the sleeves, because I'd knit the smallest size, I kind of forgot that then obviously the sleeves would be smaller, and I just felt they were too tight, and I didn't like the short rows. they weren't aesthetically pleasing to me. One side was, the back wasn't. So I had put in the Japanese short rows, which I will link to again in the show notes. And the sleeves now, I went up a needle size, kept the same stitch count, but went up a needle size for the main body of the sleeve, and then went back down to the original smaller needle for the cuff. So I went up to a 4.5, which is a US 7 for the sleeve, and I don't think it looks out of that the gauge looks very much different actually from the sleeve to the body. So it worked out well. As I said again, I love this sweater, and I probably would knit it again. I think it'll be a great staple for the wardrobe, and I may actually knit. I don't often repeat patterns, but this one might be one that I will do. So if you're knitting the gingerbread, keep going. You're nearly there. We've a couple of weeks left, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how you get on with your gingerbread. As I said last weekend, I was very tempted to cast on a new project, and I haven't yet, but I have got the next project prepared. There are actually two garments that I want to knit. One of them is Love's Promise cardigan, and I can't remember the designer name, but I'll link it. But I'm waiting on the yarn for that. The yarn's been dyed up for that at the moment, and I'll talk about it when I get that. But the other one that I have the yarn for, and that I'm just itching to get cast on, and it will get cast on, I think, as soon as I've finished the shawl, the Mountain Air shawl for Quilted Caroline. Once it's finished, I'm going to cast on this cardigan, because really I got the yarn in Edinburgh and it's been so tempting. I am going to be knitting the Scully cardigan. I talked about this before. I'm going to knit this. This is the cardigan. It's by Carrie Westerman, and it was designed for Louise Scully of Knit British. And Louise very kindly in Edinburgh helped me pick the yarn. So guess what I'm using to knit the Scully cardigan? Blacker. Now it's not the Tamar this time. This time I am going to knit with the West Country Tweed double knit. And I'm really looking forward to getting this cast on. I'm just in the mood for garments. Although I love the shawls, I'm really into garment knitting mood. And now that gingerbread is off the needles, I feel as though I have the freedom to knit something else. I really wanted to keep working in it and be quite monogamous. That's quite a hard word to say. Quite monogamous with my gingerbread sweater. But this is next. So hopefully by the next time this will actually be on the needles. I might not have very much progress, but I'm hoping to get it on. It's 100% pure wool again. It's British, and it is a beautiful shade of grey. So that's kind of what is needle adjacent for me at the moment. Last weekend, as I say, I was in County Mayo for Atlantic Knitscape, and it is one of my favourite weekends of the year, and actually it has now become 2 weekends every year. It's May and September, and I've already booked my September weekend, and this September actually it's quite exciting because there is one weekend in September, and it's one I'm booked for, where Nathan, who's sockmatician all over the internet, is coming to teach a double knitting class, and I am really looking forward to that. Atlantic Knitscape is a weekend away. Don't think it really was ever meant to be marketed under the term of a retreat. It was just a weekend away, but it really is a retreat. Catherine Hastings, who organises it, just has created the most beautiful atmosphere at this weekend. You just switch off from everyday life, and you really do feel as though you've got away from it all, and you meet lots of new people. There were a few people I knew at this weekend. Everyone else was new to me, and everyone was lovely. You just feel so much part of the community there. And I had a great weekend, and at the end of this I will put in footage and photographs of the weekend. It's almost a bit like a vlog, but I'm not very tech savvy in that regard, but I have some footage for you. If you are interested in the Atlantic Knitscape weekends, if you go to Facebook, there's an Atlantic Knitscape page there, and with the exception I think of the weekend in September that Nathan's coming to, there are places on the other weekends for September, and if you are considering it at all coming, please do consider very strongly coming over. It was lovely this time last weekend that we had an international weekend almost. Linda from Malta joined us, and it was just lovely. She had heard about it here in the podcast and she decided to come, and it was wonderful meeting her. Everyone, as I said, was incredibly friendly. No one is a stranger in County Mayo at this weekend. So we had a weekend of chat, mainly chat, beautiful food and knitting in just the most stunning landscape. There are no words to describe how beautiful it is. On the Saturday afternoon we had the opportunity to shop. A lot of the local Irish dyers sent yarn, and the bag makers, Irish bag makers, sent bags, and everybody had a great time browsing and looking and buying. And I did buy a little bit. I decided this time that I would buy from dyers that I haven't bought from before. Now, I had a great resolution at the start of the year that I wasn't going to buy random skeins of yarn, one-offs, that I would buy sweaters quantities if I was going to buy yarn, because I have so many single skeins. But I came home with 4 new skeins of yarn that are single skeins, but they're beautiful and they'll find a use. I will find something to do with them. They are really lovely. So this is what I got. I got from the Fibre Kitchen. She's a Dublin dyer. And this is sock. I think all that I got was sock wool. There's 400 meters to a skein here, and it is superwash merino 80/20 superwash merino bamboo, and it's beautiful. This colorway is morning berry porridge, and the name appealed to me because it's my breakfast of choice every day. So it's a lovely neutral with just pops of colour through it. So I got that one. I'm not sure what that'll become. I have a feeling it might be a little shawl. Not sure. With that one, I got from Irish Fairy Tale Yarns, and I link all of these in the show notes. And this is 100% merino, and it's called Dragon Green. And isn't that just the most gorgeous shade of green? There's almost a theme here of green. I do love green. Grey and green are the 2 colours of choice. I got this one, which is from Woolfinch Studios, which I think is in County Cork. And I mean, I could have come home with so much Woolfinch. Her colours are just beautiful. Really, you should go and look at her website. All of the dyers have beautiful websites and beautiful colours. Her colours, I have to say, very much appealed. And it is 80% wool, 20% ramie, I think. And the colour is Moon Dance. And look at those colours. They're just beautiful. Subtle and rich. And the last skein that I bought is from a very local to me and a new dyer called Bear in Sheep's Clothing. And she has an Etsy shop. And she is using British breeds and dyeing up British breeds. And this is 75% BFL and 25% Masham. And it feels beautiful. And her colourway is Squall. And she likes pops of bright colours. A lot of her yarns are very bright. But this one just really appealed. So those were the 4 skeins of yarn that I got. As I say, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to use them for, but I'll pet them and sniff them and look at them and enjoy them for a wee while until I've figured out what they want to be when they grow up. And as I said, there were lots of yarns there, a lot of ones that appealed, and I had to kind of show a wee bit of self-control, as I will be back in September and we'll have another opportunity, and there are a few events between now and September that I'll be going to that I'm sure yarn will be brought home from. On the Saturday night after dinner we had a raffle. Everybody brings something to add to the raffle that is yarn or yarny related, and this year, just to add to the mug collection, I got my Hurdy mug. So those were some of the things that I got when I was away. En route, and it'll appear in the footage at the end, en route down I stopped at Foxford Woolen Mills. And Foxford Woolen Mills have some shops around Ireland that sell their produce, but it was actually at the mill I decided to drop in and see what it was like. Now I was unlucky in that I arrived, it's a 5 to 6 hour drive for me from my home to County Mayo, this part of County Mayo. And by the time I got to Foxford, the shop was still open, but the mill area had closed. They closed half day on a Friday. But I must have looked tired, possibly, and I was buying a few bits and pieces when I was in the shop, and I was speaking to the man, and he asked why I was there, how far I'd travelled, etc, etc, just very chatty. And I explained that I was down for a knitting event and that I loved all things woolen, had seen the sign, had decided to come in, had hoped to have seen the tour but realised it was closed. And he was very, very kind. He said, just hold on a wee minute, and he came round the counter and he says, come with me. And he actually brought me into the mill area, and he showed me the different machines and all the beautiful fabrics that are being woven up. I saw a mohair blanket that was being woven, and I saw there was a beautiful baby blanket, and then I saw a beautiful tweed scarf that was on another loom. So it was really, really nice just to have that little bit of an introduction to the weekend, and I did buy a few bits and pieces there. I got myself a lovely blanket and again another mug, which was this one. And what was quite funny about this mug is that, well, I do have a weakness for mugs, particularly pottery. I love pottery. And I decided that I would buy myself a pottery mug, and it turned out that the potter whose mug I bought is actually local to me and is closer to me than she is to Mayo. But I came home from Mayo with a Helen Faulkner mug, and it's lovely. I've been watching this mug on Etsy for a while. So that was my I was going to say my treat to myself. The entire weekend was a treat to myself, but I love my mug. Generally, it was just a fabulous weekend, and I really do encourage you, if you haven't been to Atlantic Knitscape, to think about going. Have a look at their Facebook page, and maybe I'll see you there at one of the next weekends. So that's all I have for you this week. Hopefully you have enjoyed hearing about my knitting and the progress that I've made over the last couple of weeks. I hope you have made progress with your knitting too. Please come over to the Ravelry Group, join in, say hello. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. It's lovely getting to know you all. And hopefully I'll see you in 2 weeks' time again. I'll leave you with the footage from last weekend, and I hope you enjoy it. Good morning, everyone. It's Atlantic Knitscape Day. I'm all ready to go. I'm all packed up. I have my audio podcast stacked up to listen to. It'll take about 5 hours to get there, and I've my caffeine beside me to keep me awake. I hopefully will get some footage of the journey down. I'll stop a few times and try and show you some points of interest, and I'll see you there. I'm about 3 hours into my journey to County Mayo, and I have just stopped along the road, so please excuse the road noise. This is one of the most stunning views I know of. This mountain that you just see dropping off is Ben Bulben, and it's in County Sligo. At the very foot, kind of round the corner of the end of the mountain there, is the grave of the Irish poet W.B. Yeats. There's a poem under Ben Bulben. Towards the sea, the Atlantic Ocean. It's stunning here. Sunset on day one. Clare Island. Danish Turk.
Fish. And I have prices on them.
Yes.
And what's the one? Was there working? Yes. He was a very nice person.
This is the little town of Westport in County Mayo. I'm actually on my way home from Atlantic Knitscape. I thought I would stop here for a little while. It's such a pretty town. There's a beautiful architecture. You can see through the trees. It's Sunday lunchtime, so there's a wee bit of traffic. It's quieter than usual.